No one knows more about the case of 6ix9ine than his own lawyer. Stay tuned to not miss out on the new leaked information involving 6ix9ine's case from his own lawyer. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel.
The fact that this lawyer represented multiple defendants means that this lawyer cannot represent 6ix9ine, that 6ix9ine has to get a whole new lawyer.
The lawyers of 6ix9ine.
Co-defendants, and I want you to hear from the lawyers because there's been a lot of talk about what this is all about. And this is Mr. Lance Lazaro right here.
If you think about it, one of the biggest things that doesn't get talked about in the case of 6ix9ine is the lawyers of 6ix9ine. Think about it. We've been so focused on what 6ix9ine himself has been doing and who he's been snitching on and who is reacting to what he does that we aren't focused on the people who are doing the actual legal work in this case. Trust me when I say that being a lawyer is not easy, especially when your client, 6ix9ine, is guilty as sin.
They both are looking at years behind bars. 6ix9ine was famously arrested in November 2018 and turned state's witness a day later.
And you're trying to do everything for him so that he can either get out, get cleared, or get the best deal possible to try and make his stay more tenable. A great example of this happened right at the beginning of his court case, because while 6ix9ine's arrest was totally within the confines of the law, and thus unable to be turned over for various reasons, that didn't mean that 6ix9ine had to stay in the prison area that he was first put into. By that, I mean that he was first put into the general population, where everyone could get a piece of him. Naturally, he was afraid for his life, so he got his lawyers to put the paperwork in to get a court date so that he could make a plea to the judge so that he could get out of there. His logic for getting out of there, you ask? Why, he felt that if he stayed in the general population, that he would get, quote, super violated. Yes, he really did say that, to the extent that the judge had to ask what he meant because it sounded so weird. Welcome to the world of 6ix9ine. He got his desire and he was put into the nonviolent offenders ward of the prison, where he can honestly stay relatively safe and not have to fear a bunch of people coming after him. Granted, he still wanted to get out of jail, but that would have to come at a later time. But the reason he was in as good a position then as he was before was because of his lawyers. The price of being a lawyer.
They're not trying to get him out on bail. 2, it was discovered that his current attorney has represented other defendants in the case.
Let's talk about something else for a second, shall we? Let's talk about why these people are trying to defend 6ix9ine and get him into a good position to get out of jail. Why is it that these lawyers are working so hard to try and get 6ix9ine off on a good plea deal? What's their motivation behind all this? Well, more than likely it's money, and only that. Think about it, as much of a punk as people think 6ix9ine is, he can honestly afford a good lawyer, which is why he's been able to get away with so much crap behind bars, such as buying his girlfriend Jade a $25,000 watch for her birthday while still in jail. Yeah, his lawyers definitely helped him with that. As crass as it may sound, money is a big deal in the world of lawyering, and in fact many people do that job only because of the money, if they get signed on to the right client, the right company, and more. It means constant work, constant cash flow, and a certain amount of credibility and elegance. And no genre in music needs lawyers more than rap. That's just a fact. If you look at the cases that have been tried over the recent years involving rappers and their various crews compared to other artists, there is literally no match. It's highly unlikely that any of the lawyers that 6ix9ine has honestly like him or think that he's a good human being because of what he has done previously with the 9 Trey Bloods. But he is famous for better or for worse, and he can't pay them, though his cash flow is a little restricted thanks to the arrest and the FBI lockdown on his assets. So they do the work that he asks. It may not be right, it may not be true, but it's what's happening right now, and that has to be respected on some level. In fact, 6ix9ine has actually gone to court to try and ensure his lawyers can do their job. One time his lawyer was called out for a conflict of interest, and 6ix9ine had to testify that his conflict of interest wouldn't hurt the case. That shows that he had faith in his legal team, which worked in his favor because he got to keep his lawyer. So yeah, you don't have to like them, but they are a key part of this case, and that makes their influence felt all over the place, including on the deal that made 6ix9ine basically a free man, the plea deal arrangement.
All information of the activities of himself and others to the U.S. Attorney's Office.
For a lawyer, there are a few things that are on top of their list in terms of what their goals are in a case. The first, as it should be, is to uphold the law. Both prosecutors and defense attorneys have a strict set of rules that they need to follow to uphold the law, and if they don't do that and get caught, which happens more than you think, leads to bad things. But the other most important thing is that they do the best they can for their clients and try to get them the best deal possible, no matter what they may bring or how guilty they truly are. For 6ix9ine, when he was arrested on November 18th, 2018, he had a lot of charges brought up against him, and many of those charges had multi-year sentences if convicted. Then there was the matter of 2 charges that had life sentences if he was convicted. As you'll find out later on, 6ix9ine isn't the kind of guy who is willing to sacrifice his career for anything. so having a life sentence would totally ruin his plans to get back to singing. Thus, he needed to get a deal that would allow him to get out as soon as possible. Enter the lawyers and the FBI, who were able to work out a deal that most definitely suited 6ix9ine's needs for the most part. You see, while the FBI did have plenty of evidence to arrest and possibly convict 6ix9ine and his crew made up of the 9 Trey Bloods, it never hurts to have someone on the inside confess to certain things and help make the process a whole lot smoother. This is where 6ix9ine comes in, because while he may have talked a good game in terms of trying to live the street life, he's only ever really cared about himself. To the point where when the lawyers and the FBI pointed out that he could get a plea deal that would get him out of jail possibly in a year or so, he couldn't sign that deal fast enough. But you must give credit to the lawyers as well. They did a heck of a job getting the best possible deal for him. For example, when it came to what he had to do in order to get the plea deal and some leniency, he honestly didn't have to do much in context. On the downside, he had to plead guilty to a variety of charges, but they weren't the life sentence charges. He was allowed to not face those, and he wouldn't get the maximum charge for the counts that he did plead guilty to. And the more he told the court about the 9 Trey Bloods, and the more he helped get convictions for the members that were arrested alongside him, and the more he told the court about the 9 Trey Bloods, and the more he helped get convictions for the members that were arrested alongside of him, the more likely he was to get out sooner. Seriously, that's one heck of a deal, and 6ix9ine lived up to his part of the deal. Good snitching.
The worst thing you could do in the history of mankind is be a rat. The worst.
No doubt the lawyers of 6ix9ine made it clear that 6ix9ine needed to spill everything that he had in order to get the lowest amount of days in prison. At this point in time, he's been in jail for over a year, and that is easily the most amount of time that he's spent behind bars, to the extent that he's likely bursting at the seams to get out, which is why starting in February 2019, he went and did everything he could via testimony and evidence to put away everyone that was associated with him in the 9 Trey Bloods that were either already arrested or on the outside. The testimony and evidence that he provided was surprisingly detailed and allowed for multiple convictions, sentencing, and even arrests, including getting a pair who were part of the alleged kidnapping of 6ix9ine that everyone thought was fake, but it turns out it wasn't. Then, in September of 2019, he took another turn at giving testimony, and while it was clear that he was uncomfortable being so close to his former members of the 9 Trey Bloods that he was testifying against, he did his job and dropped major information about what he and the others did in their various acts of crimes, of which there was an incredible variety, and 6ix9ine knew the details of most of it. Why does this matter? Simple, because it was the advice of his lawyers to cooperate, and he did that and more. 6ix9ine honestly doesn't listen to good advice all that often, but in this case it lined up with his goals, which was to get out of prison, so he naturally listened. It is unclear at present whether he'll need to testify again before the end of his time in prison, or if he'll be called back after he's released. That part of the plea deal is unclear, but as long as he keeps doing what he promised to do, he doesn't have to worry about the FBI dogging him for his time with the 9 Trey Bloods. They have bigger fish to fry. Did you want to win any of these items on the screen? If so, be sure to watch the whole video, leave a like, and comment the hidden message. And with that being said, let's get right back into the video. The waiting game. So where does that leave us right now in terms of the legal side of the case? Well, there's one last thing to do, and that's to find out the sentencing of 6ix9ine. This in and of itself was a work of art from the legal team and lawyers, because originally 6ix9ine was scheduled to go and get sentenced in the earlier parts of 2020, likely in January, but that got moved up to December, and so he's got less than a month to go in order to find out what happens to him, which I'm sure he's thrilled about. Then again, there were times when the lawyers said that they were going to get 6ix9ine out by September, but that was clearly wishful thinking. So now, for both the lawyers and 6ix9ine, they're waiting to see what the judge will rule in terms of his sentencing. It could go many different ways, and the verdict will no doubt determine what 6ix9ine and his lawyers do next. Bailing on the witness protection.
6ix9ine has revealed that he will not enter witness protection.
If there was one thing that the lawyers of 6ix9ine are no doubt cringing over, it's the fact that 6ix9ine had lined up in his plea deal a way to get into the witness protection program, and thus make sure that once he is out of prison, he would be able to have his own life and likely be able to stay away from the various people who have it out for him, which at this point in time is a lot of people, not just the 9 Trey Bloods. Yet according to the sources close to him, he's not going to take it, which no doubt has his lawyers scratching their heads and having all sorts of meme reactions. I mean, think about it. You were in prison. You snitched on just about everyone who ever helped you and made you what you are today, and they've made it very clear that they're going to come after you and get revenge on you for what you did to them, and you decide to not care? I grant you that witness protection is not a 100% safe thing. There have been people who have gone into the program and eventually had their cover blown, but that's a minority of the people. it would be very fair to say that 6ix9ine would be safe in witness protection and not have to worry about the Nitrate Bloods anymore. So why would he turn down the opportunity for him and his loved ones to be safe? Vanity. That's why. I'm serious. I mean, the reason 6ix9ine was so adamant about not going into the witness protection program was that it meant that he would have to give up his rapper career, of which he is not only passionately bent on getting back to, he may already have a deal lined up for him that is worth about $10 million. Sure, the money is great if it's real, but is that really worth your life? Apparently for 6ix9ine it is, because his brilliant plan for once he got out of jail is to hire 24/7 security to protect him and his loved ones, which he'll be able to do that if the deal does go through. So in short, his idea of staying safe is having a bunch of bodyguards around him who he thinks can't be bought out by a higher bidder or compromised. What this really is about is his image. 6ix9ine is a man who acts like a child a lot, but especially when it comes to his image about being a rapper. He wants to be the most hardcore and real rapper in the world, which is hard to do when you're a snitch. But he can't do that if he's hiding in witness protection. Not the least of which is because if he does go into witness protection, he'll have to change his entire look, change his name, and ensure that he doesn't sing in case someone recognizes his voice. For 6ix9ine, the idea of doing that is apparently capital punishment, which he doesn't want. For the lawyers of 6ix9ine though, I'd be worried because that means you'll have to deal with him out in the open when he's released, and that means they'll be exposed to everything that's going on, which isn't exactly an ideal situation for anyone who is only there for money and such. Still, that's what they're signed up for, and they have to adhere to their client's wishes, no matter how stupid. Still, that's what they're signed up for, and they have to adhere to their client's wishes, no matter how seemingly unimportant it might be, like the watch for his girlfriend while he's still being locked up. What will happen to 6ix9ine now?
February 2019, he pled guilty to a number of charges and was looking at decades in prison, but will likely receive a reduced sentence for his cooperation.
This is indeed the question that everyone who is tied to this case is asking themselves right now, especially 6ix9ine and his lawyers. After all, the fate of 6ix9ine has yet to be determined and his sentencing has not taken place yet, as I've noted. But what do we personally think will happen? I feel we've speculated enough on that, but we can talk about the possibilities once more and what the reactions to them will be. The first option is the one that 6ix9ine wants. He wants to be set free ASAP, and that would mean that he gets to go and get back to making rap music, which would mean that he can go back to making money. Granted, this doesn't mean that he's free and clear of everything, as there are rumors of other charges being put against him after he gets out. But at least that would allow him to be out of jail for a while as that plays out. Plus he'll have his legal team of lawyers with him, so that will help him out, no doubt. The other option is that 6ix9ine gets denied immediate release and that he's forced to stay in jail for a bit longer. How long is truly up to the judge, as we've noted, but that doesn't mean it'll be an eternal stay. More than likely 6ix9ine's lawyers will file an immediate appeal in order to get him out of jail as quickly as they can. But depending on the judge and the prosecutors, that might just be harder than 6ix9ine hopes. There are other options floating out there, including ones that seem very unlikely, such as him getting much longer than a few years in jail. But either way you look at it, 6ix9ine is facing a situation where everything is out of his hands. He's done all he can do to butter himself up to the courts. Where it goes from here, where it ends up, that's anyone's guess, and that's likely what is making people, including 6ix9ine and his legal team of lawyers, so nervous. And there you have it, folks, a look at the lawyers of 6ix9ine, how they fit into everything, and how 6ix9ine is shaping up right now in prison. What do you think about everything that's happened with 6ix9ine's case? Do you think that his lawyers will be able to get him out of prison by the end of the year, or close to the new year? Or do you think he'll be stuck in jail for a while? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe. I'm King Trending, and I'll see you next time.
A simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We will be giving away either an iPhone X Max, the new iPad mini, or a MacBook Pro. It's really your choice. So be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. It's really that simple. Go for it.